MV3 Traders Futures Trade Radio is brought to you by The Ultimate Trader's Guide, your one-stop shop for the most valuable income-producing information on the internet. Go to ultimatetradersguide.net to learn more. Link in the description below. Mic check. Might help if I turn my mic on. How we doing? Hope everybody had a good week. Have a strong close to the last day of the week. We are in our RTAs. NQ has been kind of like just ranging. One of those quote unquote choppy overnight sessions. The price action. But right now we're finding supply for VWAP, but that's, we're hovering A1. And it looks like we're breaking VWAP. So we're getting supply responses to A1, but now we're above A1. I'm looking to see if we get an inventory response off of it. Just gonna let this play out and see if we actually pick a direction here soon. I've learned to, over the last few days or the last few weeks, when NQ is kind of just hovering a particular area, kind of be patient with it at the open. If my trade bias will, give me a little for overnight, for like leading into the open, will give me one direction, and then it'll quickly flip. Right now we're getting an inventory response off of A1. So let's see where this takes us. I'm gonna be patient with it. Not gonna rush into a trade. Absolutely no need to rush. We're getting a supply lift, kind of going on a grinding out on a small supply run. One more other thing to maintain awareness too is that, for me myself personally, is that we are back to the low volume, low participation. Had a small NZ spread. Coming back to that overnight session high. Now with a lot of strength. It's a front run. We got about a little over 10 points before the session high. Had a lot of wicks in that 84 to 76 range on a micro scale. Quickly lifted the supply and I'm coming back to A1. I would like to see an inventory response off of A1. Trying to confirm current bias. Getting a quick inventory response off of A1. Also VWAP is there. Not much energy at all, especially for NQ. So we do get some momentum. I wouldn't expect it to last long. And the drop of the inventory into A1. An immediate response. Potential slingshot. Should be interesting if we break and hold below 472. So we created some little pocket of liquidity there. The way this is trading right now, I wouldn't be surprised if I don't even get any good setups today. This turns out to be a no trade day. I continue to play it by ear, but price action even slow from me. There's a break below 374 or 372. Same difference. See if we continue to drop. Starting to see a little bit of momentum as we go on this little supply run or inventory run. personal point of reference. 80 was my base. We were holding this range in between, we're still holding it from the pre-market hours between PR50 and PR plus 1 roughly. I personally would like to see it break outside of that. Took a quick little supply to inventory scalp right there. Off that 467 supply zone. Looks like we want to stay inside of this range. Brought us back to A1 for a quick supply response. Looked over at the ES chart, it's also ranging out. We're starting to get these supply responses and we're quickly retesting them and breaking them. Just had a supply right there at 470 that we took out, and then we created another one off of A1 at 474. Quickly took that one out. Still, we're lifting the supply, getting us a response, maintaining that pattern. Give a supply response, and then we'll lift the supply immediately. I'm still being patient with this. And again, there's a lot of opportunities in range bound, like trading in the range. The difficulty a lot of times is picking a direction, and really it's a personal thing, because if you really think about it, when price is ranging and we're trading it's holding a particular range, honestly you can just pick one side and just trade that one side, but you got to stick to that one side. And then it comes to risk management for when that range is broken. If you're on the wrong side of that, then that's where your risk management comes into play, or your money management comes into play. But if you took advantage of that range, you should have plenty of a buffer to take a small loss once you've been confirmed that you were on the wrong side of the break, right? Now, the ideal situation, of course, is to play the range and then be on the right side of the break, so you can also take the trend. But a lot of times in this environment, it's best to kind of just focus on one, and then if you get the other one, cool, but make sure that you're maintaining your solid risk management practices and principles so that all the effort that you put in to trade that range isn't taken out off of one bad trade or for one losing trade. It's an interesting supply response off of 478. Just as a quick snapshot, we are kind of seeing the stronger response off of the supply zones. Overall, we're not really being too kind of, I mean, there are some mechanical responses to our automation points, but when you look at the structure, it doesn't really show the same picture. Something you have to recognize when you're watching it live, watching the price action live. Right now I'm watching that 468 area. Let's see if we continue to drop the inventory from that point. Us right back into that 464 previous inventory zone. ES on a 3-minute perspective, and it's still holding this range. Nothing really wants to move today. Within this A period. But with this slow price action or this flow, these slow, low energy environments, these are good times to, get some familiarization with the price action of whatever you're trading. The market does you a favor and slow things down for you. But then again, you got to not be in your head and give yourself the negative talk of, it's like watching pain and all that stuff. You want to be able to take advantage of these opportunities when the market slows things down and show you how it likes to move and how it likes to respond to certain things, and get your eyes accustomed to it. Familiarize yourself with the price action when it's slow, so that when the market speeds back up, it's not as triggering to your anxiety. Like earlier, I was starting to have a little bit of negative talk, and I caught it in the moment. But these are the times where other people want to take coffee breaks, where I really focus and pay attention. And it has taught me a lot. Especially what has taught me the most is about myself. And I was starting to see some follow through. little bit of momentum. We broke the overnight session low. There was a huge volume gap leading to the session low. So now we're gonna just broke below it. Not gonna continue right away. We're gonna pause here. Of course, there you gotta expect there to be some participation from both sides, from both buying and sell perspectives at these highs and lows. So we're gonna pause for a moment. We're gonna take care of that, get all those orders filled, and then we're gonna decide which direction we want to go. Briefly drop that session low, the overnight session low. Came right back inside the range. Got an automation level around 452. Quickly came back to automation, inside of automation, or A1. That printed as a look below and fail. Now we'll see how far we go back inside of this range. We didn't really get a retest of that look below and fail. It'll be interesting to see if that happens before we actually really take the supply far. It was a nice supply response out of 464. You would like to see that follow through. minute mark or 5 minutes before B period. Of course, hindsight capital shows us that there were a couple opportunities that I could have taken advantage of. But I'm not even. Another thing this morning, as a self-awareness, and to get the best sleep in the world. So I am like in this. So with the job, I am on call this week. So on those weeks, on the weeks like this, I don't usually get the best sleep because it's kind of hard to sleep when you're thinking your phone is going to ring. It's at some random time. So with that awareness, also that kind of led into me being extra patient with me deciding, what kind of what trades I want to take. Being extra patient with taking trades. Just knowing that I'm not at 100% when it comes to how much rest I got last night. So before I pull that trigger, I want to make sure that I'm seeing things the way that I'm supposed to be seeing, and I'm not taking a tired trade outside of what my strategy and my plan and all that stuff is supposed to be. It would also be a wise choice to not trade at all on days where you don't get enough sleep, or you're not rested enough, or your focus just isn't there. As I can confirm from previous experiences, that those are the days where you're most likely to make mistakes. Those have definitely been the days that I've made the most mistakes. So understanding that the market is going to be open another day, and like I always say, if it doesn't open another day, then none of what we're talking about matters anymore. So I don't have to force trades on a day where I may not be 100% focused and bring in my A game. Especially when we have these days that are a little bit more difficult to trade and find good setups that are really gonna, kind of, quote unquote, be worth trading. So we're back into that area to where, overnight we had a big volume gap, and there still isn't a lot of volume there below. What's that, 454 ish? Seeing an inventory response off of that range. That ranges from basically 454 to, at this point, the session low. Let's just call it 440. Thirty seconds to go before the B period rotation or transition. ES is starting to see a little bit of movement. Kind of had the same the quick sell off that that look below and fail sell off that NQ experienced. And there we go. Nice little B-force volatility. Let's see if it gets this market moving. That brings some energy. Of course, in hindsight, I can look at that and say that that would have paid off nice for me if I would have just taken, you know, the trade. But you know, like it can also be in the opposite. This could have happened in the opposite direction. Would have had to be quick on the trigger for sure to capitalize the most off of that volatility. But it makes sense that we didn't have that much volume in that area, so there wasn't going to be a lot of interest in that range. We're looking to see how low do we go. Still dropping the session low, dropping the inventory. I'm still open to an opportunity. If I get a nice setup, good clean setup, I will be taking it. From a power range perspective, that did take us into the bear zone. And we're starting to see a quick supply response off of PR-1. Just looking to see if we hold that. Retesting that previous inventory. Making our way back to the overnight session low. Picking up some supply off of that. Still got a little bit of volatility out there. Gave me another little scalp off of that supply to inventory. Only got to take one lot off on that one. Just stepping our way into cheaper inventory. So at this point, we'll be looking to see how far this inventory run takes us. I wouldn't really expect anything to play out too quickly, and if we continue to search for cheaper inventory. But of course, terms like quickly are relative. I mean, with my micro perspective, I like to see things happen right away. But if you have like a longer, let's say like a 4-hour perspective, what we're seeing now could be quick, you know, in relation to that time period that you have your mind set to. So I like to try to stay to neutral terms. It keeps me balanced. And to not, you know, pick up too many biases to one side. Of course, it's not 100%. I still do get biased from time to time. And of course, I always have my technical bias based off of the strategy that I'm using. Because inside of my strategies, I have it to where the strategy dictates the direction I trade, not my own opinions and thoughts about what I think the market should do. Because I'm the only one that cares about what I think the market should do. But I'm not in this, you know, I'm not participating in this by myself, of course. So what I think really doesn't matter at the end of the day is what is the quote unquote market showing us, what's on the board, and how does that relate to the patterns that I recognize and what I defined as ways to take advantage of that. So that's why I try to use as many neutral terms as possible so that I don't pick up biases that have me, that is just based off of my opinions and what I think I'm seeing in the moment. A lot of times, of course, that's easier said than done, because this is an emotionally triggering environment. The way that the board is played and set, it's done so in the way that price prints. It's done so in the way that trigger emotions. For in my opinion, the real game is to the emotional side. Which makes the only competition yourself. Speaking of that, I am recognizing that I am hesitating a little too much. So, you know, from the tempo that I started for myself, being extra cautious with taking the trade. So I'm gonna go ahead and just close my session for today. I only got 5 minutes left in my trade window anyway. So, and I'm positive for the week, for the day. At this point, I would just be trying to make extra money. I've already done my job, so I can, you know, not having the whole day to trade. I don't want to push it too much and then get to a position to where now I'm trying to recover a loss when I was up already in a tight window. If that makes sense. But I am recognizing like some of the same patterns that we just saw. But just because I recognize those patterns doesn't mean it has to play out exactly the same. Even though a lot of times it does. Came back to A1 for some supply responses. Kind of this two-step supply lift. Where by that I mean we set the supply, had a supply response at one level, broke that, found another supply at a slightly higher level. And we're gonna go back and we're gonna retest that supply zone, and then the question be, where do we go from there? So, me mentioning by being too hesitant is you can analyze this stuff all day long. You don't want to get too caught. Well, I don't want to get caught into over analyzing and to the point to where I'm not actually pulling the trigger just like I'm supposed to, as fluently as I'm supposed to, because that's why I set, my risk management the way that I do, so I can react how I'm supposed to react in the moment without hesitating. And if it doesn't work out, then I've already defined how much I can lose, and I'm not going to blow up my whole account. And I just keep following that, and as long as I stay consistent with that, then over time, I can grow the account. Now it is a bit harder when doing that with these funded programs. Something I was thinking about last night. Actually, I was thinking about, to be 100%, keep it all the way honest, I was thinking about going back to just trading my personal account. Not saying there's anything wrong with the funded programs or how they run their business or anything like that. It's just that what I used them for was to kind of overcome a lot of my emotional hurdles, right? And what it has done for me, one thing that these funded accounts have really helped me out with was my hesitation to pull the trigger from past experiences of taking a lot of losses. So what I've discovered in that is I had to get used to taking losses in order to overcome that, right? It's like the whole fear of the unknown thing. It's not really the taking losses, it's what the results are going to be from taking the losses. And so if I do that in just completely assimilated environment to where there's no money on the line, I don't get that full experience of what I'm, trying to avoid in taking those losses, because it's not really a loss. It's just, that's when it's in a simulated environment, it's just you're right or you're wrong. You didn't really lose anything. However, with these funded programs, you're not going to lose as much because your loss is only going to be as much as you paid for the program to participate in the program. But you still have money that you can lose if you don't pass that evaluation. So what it has done for me, from my perspective, it has played a key role into helping to overcome that hesitation to pull the trigger because of whatever fears I had associated with taking losses, or emotional triggers I had that was, around taking losses. And now at this point, I really don't have any those same emotional triggers that I had. Like if I pull the trigger and if it wins or it loses, I don't really care either way, in terms of my emotional response. and I can contribute a lot of that to me using these funded accounts, but actually having real money on the line, but not all the money that I have. You know what I mean? So with all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up today's session. I appreciate everybody for coming through. Hope you have a good rest of your day, a good weekend, and until next time, trade it easy.